Everybody's probably heard by now about the letter that was supposedly written by members of the Communist Party of China to Xi Jingping, and a lot of it very critical of him. Nobody has assigned their official name to it because nobody wants to suffer the obvious backlash that would come as a result of it. China is taking it so seriously that they're censoring it on social media. They've even created new censorship controls in order to stop the spread of this actual document. Now, the Western media is pushing this like it's the biggest shakeup absolutely ever in the history of the party, etc. In other words, they're massively exaggerating it. The fact is, one, we don't know whether or not the letter is actually real, but since I have read it myself, I tend to think that it probably is, because some of them are outright correct, criticisms of what Xi Jinping is doing. And we must also remember that there are 90 million people in the Communist Party of China. We can't just say it's nobody. For all we know, it could be a group of college kids who made it to criticize their own government, who were probably technically party members. It could have been anybody. It could have been even his own enemies within the government. Because I think that's what people have forgotten here. Even socialist governments have factions within them. There was the Mao faction, the Deng faction in China. Obviously there was the Trotsky faction, the Stalin faction, the Stalin and Lenin faction. There are always factions within socialist governments that have different ideas about how to proceed. Of course, China is not a socialist country, but that does not mean that they are immune from having factions within the country, or within the party itself, that have different ideas about how to proceed. So, to even think that there wouldn't be factions, I think is pretty much nonsense. These things always form because people always have different ideas about how to proceed. So I actually would not be surprised if this was a very real letter that was being used to criticize Xi Jinping. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was people who were genuinely concerned about the future of China and not just something, not just an imperialist plot to try to topple the country, etc. I think it's a real letter, and I think Xi Jinping should take it seriously and take some of those criticisms to heart. If he's already going to the point where they're creating new controls to ban anybody from seeing it, new controls over social media, the Great Firewall and all, then it means he already is taking it seriously to some degree. But I do hope he takes it seriously in the right way. Actually look at some of these criticisms, understand them, and maybe fix something. Because of course something always needs to be fixed. But it's always a question of whether or not politicians are willing to fix them. Thank you for watching. Won't you go ahead, rate, comment, subscribe, and share on various social media. And if you want, you can head over to my Patreon page and show your support. Or you could head over to the MRN bookstore and check out some of the latest books available.